started. My name is Tasha Smutney. I am a gold consultant in the business and an IATAN card holder. And we're going to do a vendor walkthrough of RoomRez. For anyone who is a new agent, Archer does register you for RoomRez in your first week or two at most. So you should be looking for an email from RoomRez with your registration and finishing your sign-on directions. And then you will have access to it. I love RoomRez for a lot of reasons. It tends to be my go-to when I'm booking just a hotel, not part of a package. But that being said, you can include packages as well, or multiple destinations. I also really like it for multiple destinations. So I'm going to show you first just a few of the things in here, and then how you would, if you're just booking first a hotel, or if we're adding other things to it. So up at the top of this, there is a menu that says, all your reservations that you've made. You can hold bookings on here to pay later. I believe it's up to a week later you can pay them. You can create different itineraries or templates that you can duplicate. Then any quotes you've put together for customers. They do have rewards for us. As you can see, I currently have $31.54. And that's money that at any time you can apply to a booking, including for yourself. I'm just trying to let mine build up. They do have frequently asked questions, and they do have a contact information. Now, RoomRez is based in Australia, but they have a service team in Florida, located in the US. So there is somebody you can get in contact with all the time with RoomRez. One thing that's really important to know with RoomRez is we are not able to book anything with them within 7 days. So no matter what, if I did like Monday, like if I searched Boston for Monday, the 7th, it's going to tell me there's no availability, not because there's no hotels available, but because we're not allowed to book within 7 days. And that actually includes like the 7th day as well. So like on the 31st, you couldn't even book starting the 7th. It would have had to be like the 30th was the last time we could book August 7th. So keep that in mind. If you ever have any last minute bookings, this is not going to be the vendor for you, even though it's fabulous. So just for that example, I am just going to stick to Boston just to show you a hotel in general. I'll just pick a long weekend. So again, you can do, it defaults to 1 room, 2 adults, but you can come in here and do options. It'll let you do up to 8 adults, so you're not typically going to find hotels that accommodate that in 1 room, and up to 7 children. But same as other vendors, once you put kids in, you do have to add their ages. Okay. You can add additional rooms here, and you can book more than 1 room at a time. Just for demonstration, we're going to keep it simple with 2 adults, long weekend in Boston. Now, when you come in, one of the things I like is there's a lot of ways to sort and filter for what your client may be looking for. It's always going to pop up like their recommended hotel first. I usually will filter this to be at least a 3-star hotel, just because when we get into 1-star and 2-star, we're really getting into motels or really not nice places that we probably don't want to be booking clients in. All right. So I always filter at least 3-star to start. And then you can come in when we're doing a city. You can either filter, if you know the city it is, you can filter by neighborhood, or you can filter by points of interest. So if they were coming into Boston and they wanted to be close to Fenway Park because they're going to a baseball game, as soon as I click that, it's going to change all of my options already. So this isn't one that you click the filters and it makes, like, you have to click apply. It just automatically does it. You can also choose like the amenities that you want. A lot of times people want to have something with parking available in the city because it's going to say not available, which is not uncommon for Boston. So I'm not going to search for that. I'll just look for my clients if they do have a car where the closest parking is. You can also filter anything for if you have a client with accessibility needs. It includes, wheelchair, elevator, accessible bathroom, a roll-in shower, in-room accessibility, which could include things like grab bars for mobility. It could include lights flashing on the phone, or if there were a fire alarm for people who have hearing impairments. All right. It could be things for people who have vision impairments, stair-free path to the entrance, sign language capable staff. So it's really cool that they give us all those accessibility options. And then you can choose if you're looking for a hotel, an apartment, a villa. I use this a lot when I'm doing Europe and I look for apartment type places for people. Because I'll get a lot of people who'll say, can I get an Airbnb in Europe? And instead of that, I come into RoomRes and click apartment because we don't work with Airbnb. They don't pay commission. And when something goes wrong with Airbnb, they're usually not going to help us. So I then come in and I always sort low to high. Unfortunately, when I just did this, and this has been happening to me lately on RoomRes, when I switched the price, it did away with all of my filters. And this is actually outside of the city. So be really careful when you're searching, because even though this says Courtyard by Marriott Boston, this is really like 40 minutes away. It's not in Boston at all. So I'm going to click that Fenway Park again. So now I've got more options, starting with the least expensive when I come into the area I want to be in. These are actually decent prices for a weekend in Boston. And I believe I chose a holiday weekend too. Yeah, that's Columbus Day weekend. So you're noticing, if you haven't done much on RoomRes, we have this gold Archer special rate, and then we have the book online rate. So the book online rate, essentially what they do to get this price is they take an average of all the online prices they can find from places like Expedia, hotels.com. It could include booking directly through the hotel as well, but just all the different prices that are coming up, and that's the average nightly price. However, that's going to be your total commission. $15.45 if you book this. And we're talking 4 nights, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 4 nights, and you would be getting $15. So that's a very low commission. All right. Now, this isn't a huge price difference. Some of them are different. We always want to book the Archer special rate, because even when we see this, it's probably still going to come out, even if there was one less. And I don't think there is. Let's see. All right. So this one is less by about $11. But when you get to the final page, it's probably not going to be less. It's going to end up being approximately the same or more, because this still has to add on all the fees, whereas this is adding things on typically. All right. So we do have lots of options. You can, just like other vendors, when you click on a hotel, it is going to open a new page. So your list of options are all still there. I like this about it, that it opens a new tab. because then I can look at multiple hotels that I like. If I really like it, I can leave it up and then check another one out, right? So it does give us pictures of the hotel. This is a really nice hotel. I've been in this hotel before. I haven't stayed there, but I've been in there for events. And because I know Boston, I know that even though it's saying Cambridge, that's a closer location to Fenway Park. So that's why they're listing that. But you can see all the different pictures, the different options for rooms. This is a really nice, looks like an updated hotel. You know, it's got places to eat. It has convenience foods. We know that Courtyard by Marriott is a well-known, reputable brand, right? But then it does tell you too a little bit about it, how far it is from things. It says 5-minute drive to Harvard and Fenway Park, right? It's only 3.5 miles from the Boston Common. TD Garden is essentially, it has both, like the Celtics play there, the Bruins play there for hockey, but it also has events and concerts. So it's a professional sports location. And then it tells you about the hotel, different amenities. So it's saying that they have Japanese cuisine. They also have a coffee shop and cafe, continental breakfasts available for a fee. And then it tells you some things about business. And it gives even more, like what's near here, right? How far it is from the airport. So it's only 8.4 miles from the airport, which is not that far, right? And then when you come down here, one of the things that a lot of people get confused on, they see this and they think that now this is the per night fee. This is the total fees we're looking at. Okay. So whenever possible, we don't want to book the non-refundable rate. We always want to book flexible because that's going to allow our clients to cancel if needed. Make sure that you understand that these dates are more in the European setup, that the month is first. Is not for the date is the day is first and the month's in the middle. Right. So this is the 3rd of October is when they can get 100% booking back. Whatever they pay, 100% back. Okay. Oh no. That's the no charge fee as of the 10th. Up until the September 30th, they have free cancellation. September 30th through October 3rd, they get some back. And then after the 3rd, so 2 days before they go, they don't get anything back. But I mean, we're talking up until 6 days before they go, they can get 100% refund. So we always recommend booking refundable whenever possible. So where this is just, you know, a couple, a room with a king bed is fine. It does show you other options. Sometimes there's not great descriptions of the rooms on RoomRes. So just like I do with other vendors, I will copy and paste that, go right to Google, and go to the website for the hotel. Because I want to make sure that I know that what I think I'm getting them is what I'm actually getting them for a room, right? So when I come in, rooms and suites, guest room. So I'm not upgrading to the city view because that was a lot more money unless they wanted to. So I'm looking at, this website's weird, the guest room with 1 king. So I'm gonna look at what that has. 1 king mini fridge tells me the size. It has a living/sitting area, complimentary wireless internet, coffee tea maker, size of the TV. It tells me the details on the bedding, which is really important because sometimes our vendors are not accurate on the bedding. I always, no matter what vendor I'm using, I double check the bedding is what I think it's going to be. All right. So, I mean, this one's pretty simple. It's not like a more complicated one. So I would be fine with saying, that's a standard room with a king size bed. A couple of things when you come in here. When we get here, sometimes it tells us that there are taxes and fees included. This one happens to have the taxes and fees included. All right. If it says that this is a non-GST booking, they're going to be charged the taxes and service fees at check-in. So if that were the case, I would go back to that website to see approximately how much it would be for this type of room. Okay. There is a mandatory $100 fee to be paid at the hotel. So I would tell my client, this is really $1,545.55. 100 of that's going to be paid to the hotel when you check in. Okay. It gives information about check-in, check-out. All right. So really it's a $25 per night destination fee. That's where that $100 is coming from. It gives the prices for that continental breakfast. If they are driving, it tells them it's $45 per day. That does include parking. It's just you have to pay when you're in the city. All right. And it gives all those policies. So I would go over that stuff. Now, as I said, RoomRez allows you to hold and pay later. You do have to have the primary guest name if you're going to hold it, and you would have to pay. Where's the date? 7 days from today. So you'd have a week to pay this. Okay. I often use this feature because it locks the price in. And now my client has a week to pay it. All right. Now, the other thing I typically do is I will create an itinerary from this. So if I click create itinerary, if I am booking for someone, let's pretend it's just for me. There's two ways that you can do an itinerary. This one always makes you put a title for the guest. I can't tell you how many times I've clicked and I'm like, where's the error? Why won't it let me go on? And it's just because I didn't put the title. You can also click right here. I want to create a template for marketing purposes. Important to know, if you do this, you cannot book from that kind of template. If you make a template, you can then duplicate it and book for the client, but you can't book directly from it. Whereas when I make an itinerary, I can. So I click create itinerary. I love, love, love making itineraries in RoomRez. So the first thing I would do before I do any add other products, I would come down here and I would click add transfer to this hotel. Because I'm going to add transportation from the hotel, from the airport. We'll just leave that at, you would, when I do a quote, I just estimate a time. You can always alter it later. Search transfers. Now, if it just comes up with like these private car type things, I usually do not book it through RoomRez. If it comes up with like a shuttle, I will. So this, I'm not going to add this car. because that's a lot of money to get 8 miles. They're probably going to get a better price just using an Uber, right? So we're not going to add any of those. I'm just actually going to go back. But the other thing I can do in here, I can add attractions. A lot of people don't realize that RoomRes has activities. Okay. So let's say, I don't know what'll come up. I haven't booked a lot of activities in here. Oh, I think I just need to put Boston. And then it'll show me activities for all the days they're there. Now you can filter for the types of things, or it comes up with all of these things. Okay. I am a super big fan of somebody who goes to a town for the first time, like a hop on, hop off type of a bus tour or something like that. It also is going to depend on what your client is asking for activities, right? But there's a lot in here. I had a client that went to Europe that specifically asked me for ghost tours, and they did do one when they were in England. So if there's something specific, I could come in. Let's see. I was trying to type Museum of Science. So if it's not popping up, it's not something they offer, but you can add activities to their itinerary. So let's say we're going to do this Go City Boston Explorer. Let's see the activities that it offers, right? So this says it gives them access up to so many activities that they can go to. Like if they choose to go 2 places, it's this much money. So it says it includes 30 plus included attractions, including the New England Aquarium, City Hop On, Hop Off 1-day trolley pass, the Museum of Science. So it's part of this pass. Get your pass instantly via email and print it out or use it on your phone for free. So it does look like this is a 1-day pass though. So 5 choices in 1 day is going to be a lot, but it's got a lot of great things in here. So potentially you could do more than one. I don't see more than 1 day, but just reading what it says. Oh, it does say it's valid for 60 days from your first attraction visit. So I don't think they have to do it in 1 day. But it's got, so no need to rush as the pass is valid for 60 days. So I would recommend the 5 choices. They're going for 4 days. They could do 2 things in 1 day and 1 thing each of the other days, right? But that's for both people, I believe, the $233. So let's see. I'm going to start it on Saturday or on their second day because they're going to be traveling in, right? And again, it asks for names. That we'll do Bob Smith, right? Put my email, we'll put my phone number, and then add to itinerary. So that's the total price for 2 people, which is not much at all, right? Now, let's say that this isn't just a weekend trip and they're going to go somewhere else in Massachusetts while they're here, right? So I could click add another product. And let's say that they want to rent a car. because they're going to drive up to Maine for the second part of their trip. Right? So I'm going to have them pick it up at the airport, even though sometimes when you do rental cars, it just says 25 plus. Sometimes it asks for the age of the driver. All right. So you do have to be aware of that. So let's say they're going to go a few days up in Maine. They're going to bring it back on Friday the 13th in October. We'll do it like a 9 a.m. pickup. So I can add a car. So depending what they need, I can look and see different cars. You know, it tells you the sizes. If I'm going with a car, you know, that's an intermediate size or a full size, it's only 2 people. They're not going to need like a giant car. But I'll just go mid-range. I can click book now and add it to my itinerary, right? We don't need a booster seat or a child seat. It's really nice that those are options that can be included, though, if you were traveling with children. So now this gets added to my itinerary. Once I add that primary driver. Oh, I forgot I have to do it this way. Today it doesn't want to auto populate any of my information, apparently. And you can put the second person as a driver too. And then again, we add it to the itinerary. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick a hotel in Maine, and then I'm going to show you what you can do once you have all of these products. So as you look, we have the hotel, we have their Go City Pass for activities, we have a rental car for the second half of that week so that they can travel up to Maine. And I'm going to add a hotel in Portland, Maine. Oops. That's from the 9th to the 13th. 1 room, 2 adults. And again, I'm going to sort by at least 3 stars or higher. Before I do anything else, I'm going to sort it price low to high. It's going to erase my little filters. So I would start looking to see what I can find. I mean, this looks like a really good price. Let's see what we find. So this is in downtown Portland. They're going to have a car so they can travel to other places in Maine from here. Right, there is a restaurant inside the hotel. There are other things around. I do also like that you can click and see the map so that you can see like what else is near here. if you're not familiar with the area, I will tell you that this is walking distance right here, and there's all kinds of restaurants and things down right on the water. So it's a good location. It's nothing fancy, but I'm gonna check another property in a moment. But it looks like a fine hotel. It's not, it's at least 3 stars. It's clean. It's in a safe location. Those are really my biggest criteria, right? But I can leave this open while I check what else is available. So I mean, these are jumping a lot in price. But, and they're all 3-star hotels until I get here. I was looking for one that I knew really well in that area, but let me just look at the Hyatt to see what the difference is, even though it's still the same rating of a hotel. I'm going to check the location. So it's in basically the same location, right? 10-minute walk to the things that people like to see there, right? There's lots of shopping in that area too, right? I love how RoomRes tells us more information about what's around. So I would say either of these, depending on what my client's budget is, I would choose either. This is about $100 more a night. So it's going to be about 400 more total. And again, we always click that Archer special rate because that's a flat 11% commission. We always get 11% if we are using the Archer special rate. So I'm going to look at the options. These do include breakfast, so that does make a difference. Again, I'm going to look up this hotel to make sure I know what we're getting for rooms. Oh, now that I see the outside of that one, I know exactly where that is. And from Boston, it's probably about a 2-hour drive to Portland, Maine. So it's not real far. They're getting 2 different experiences in New England, and that's what they were looking for. So when I look at the rooms, so the king bed, I don't think it was a suite. Let me look. King bed with sofa bed. Oh, it looks like the same. Maybe they're calling it a suite, even though. Oh no, king bed with sofa bed. Oh, that's a nice shower. All right, so that matches. I know what they're getting when I click and see this. It does have a sofa sleeper, not that they need it, where there's only 2, but it has a fridge. There's seating area, coffee maker, flat screen TV. I'm comfortable with that choice of the room. And again, I'm always choosing flexible. I just want to look and see if there's sometimes on here, when you scroll through, there'll be like other choices that pop up. This one's not showing it. I do want to caution you with, because I just saw it as I scrolled down. One of them said run of the house. Where is it? Run of the house means, and this is also not a flexible booking anyway, but sometimes you'll see a run of the house and the money is lower, because basically what that means is you have no idea what kind of room you're booking them in. They get whatever's available when they check in. All right, so they could end up in a room with 2 twin beds. All right, so we don't want to, roll the dice with what our clients might end up in, right? So I'm going to book this king with sofa bed because they don't need the accessible, and it's the same price anyway. Again, we're just pretending it's me. Did I say Bob Smith? Add to itinerary. Oh, I'm going to come back to this too. This one says this booking is GST free. The price contains $0 of the goods and service taxes. Okay. So this hotel does not include the taxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to get at least the approximate. So at least I can see what the percentage is of that. I'm making sure it's the same kind of room. So it says the taxes and fees are $122. So I'm going to let them know it's going to be approximately $122 or $123 taxes and fees. So this makes me think it's included, even though it says that, because that's a lot less money right on the website. I mean, not a lot. It's like $100 less. All right. So now that I have everything I'm going to include, I could look and see if there's activities here as well. But let's say that this is everything I want to include. So now I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to click Create Customer Quote. Because I love what RoomRez does for us with customer quotes. So you can name it like New England Fall Getaway. Then it says what's included. And you can choose to include or not include any of this that you choose. All right. Include the customer name. You don't need that. Include the dates. I like to have the dates. Display the total price. Yes, I like to have the total price. So this total price is $3,662.20 for a almost a week rental car and 2 nice hotels. You can add the individual prices as well if you would like to, or you can leave that total. I often like to include the individual. That way, if they're like, oh, could we maybe find a less expensive hotel there? Or you could just leave it as the total for what you're included. I don't typically include this. Oh, yeah, I do. Call me to discuss. However, actually don't include it because I don't just email the quote. I present it over the phone. So this does tell us the total, and our total commission for this would be $402.85. That's the total commission paid to Archer that we then get our 80% of, right? Because we get 11% of everything we book on RoomRez, okay? And I can click Generate Quote. And what it's going to do is it's going to create a website. And what I love about this It looks so professional, right? It's showing you that first hotel in the background. It tells you the total price, it tells you what's included. And then, after I've spoken to my client, I can say, I'm sending this to you. Or when it's a really complicated quote, I'll send it to them right as we're getting on the phone. Okay. Right as we're getting on the phone. And I'll say, let's look at it together. So they could come in here and first they see about this property, but then they can click view details. They're going to see those extra details that RoomRes has, the distance to everywhere. They can look at all the pictures, right? Then they can look at what this city pass includes. So it's super, super professional. And it really gives them an idea of what we're including, right? That's okay, Josh. And then the last hotel, it shows all the details, okay? And their rental car with the dates that they have it, okay? It includes a map of where their trip is. Should show. Oops. Come back. So if we scroll out, we can see the 2 locations that they'll be in. They can click I like it, and that will tell you, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't confirm anything. They still have to book it, but you'll at least get an email that says they've looked at it and they like it. Now, within RoomRes itself, let me go back. I can go to itineraries and templates. Now you're going to see how much I like itineraries because they're here. And the most recent made is going to be here. It'll tell me how many times it's been viewed. And you can view that itinerary. You can edit the customer quote. So this one here is somebody that I'm booking for next year. They're just waiting. I wish they would book their hotels because I'm afraid they're going to run out. But they're waiting till their flights are available. So when I click their view itinerary, this is one for Ireland. When I come in here, I did make a template for this one, so it's a little different, but it has all of their information for multiple places, including their transportation for their hotels and their from the airport. But one of the things I like when you do make it as an itinerary as opposed to a template, when you come in, here's one I did. That's a draft itinerary. Perfect. I can come in here and click refresh all rates. So this is one I did a while ago. I was just playing around with it for something. It's just a transfer from the airport to the hotel. But I could put those together. Refresh all rates. And it'll update it to what's current. So now it's telling me some of your items are not available. So that the hotel is no longer available. But this is a booking that never happened, that I probably booked a few months ago, right? So that's one of the great things. You also can come in, like, you could make a what's the word I was looking for? You could make a mock booking out of it. And then all you have to do, like this one I just made, view itinerary. If you click duplicate, create another itinerary like this. Now you could either book the same exact dates or you could change things around. So it's really a time saver there that I really like too. So you could, book the similar type of trip with different dates for somebody else. And you've already done a lot of that work, right? Before we finish up, the other thing I want to show you that's brand new on RoomRes that they just announced at convention is they're offering tours now. Right now, I haven't looked a ton into the tours yet, but one thing that makes it different is they're not requiring pay in full for tours. Everything else on RoomRes is pay when you book it, pay in full. So you can come in and look at these. I mean, look at that, 8 days from $2,000 per person in Italy. That seems, and now this does not include flights, but that seems pretty inexpensive to me. All right, so they have ones that they're featuring, and then you can also look, it tells you what's available. All right, so, you know, if somebody wants to go to Portugal, and you can look up dates, and similar to cruises, it's blocking out them. Oh, it's putting those ones you can do. So it's any dates you could choose. So maybe they want to go in the spring of next year, search tours. And it is possible, like, to customize which cities within those tours. So there's different options. The Healing Waters of North Portugal, and this one's a self-drive. So some of them are self-drive where they arrange for your hotels and where you're staying. And some of them are ones that they provide transportation. Now, these are all showing up as self-drive, but they do offer also. This one does not say self-drive. Okay, so we can look and see. Notice it says they only have to pay a 10% deposit to secure these. So when you click and see, it's going to give you more details about those itineraries. All right, so it gives all the details. Now, these are things that you absolutely could make into marketing material, right? The accommodations it gives: 5 nights hotel. Day 1 through 5, you're in Lisbon. So it looks like they're staying in the same place. And it looks like you have a choice between a superior hotel category, a deluxe hotel category, right? So either 4-star or 5-star. It does include just 5 breakfasts, so your other meals are on your own. There's a shuttle from the airport to your hotel and back, and transportation throughout the tour for days 2 and 4. You're going other places, all the entrance fees, and then it says there's a meet and greet, and then there's a detailed itinerary of what you're going to do. All right. So they're staying in one location, but traveling from there. That looks like they're just out in the middle of the ocean, which is funny. But these are great things that RoomRes has just started doing. I like that when it says superior hotel category, it gives you an example of one. It says or similar. So we could look up that hotel to see what type it is. It also says that you could add a night before or after, and then it tells you what's not included. Okay. So these are things that you could look at and advertise, and then put something out as a mock booking and write, you know, airfare additional or whatever the case may be. So it doesn't have the same scope of some of the others for tours, but it's really nice that this is now something they're offering. And the pricing is good. I feel like that one that we just looked at, the 6 days, starts at $890 per person. So these are based on double occupancy. I haven't done enough digging into it yet to see if there's like a single supplement. A lot of times, some of these that have tours, they'll allow you to pay extra money if you're traveling single. but I haven't done a lot of digging into this yet just because I haven't needed to. So it's definitely something to start looking into. It has difficulty level, physical difficulty. So if you have like older people traveling, you could sort by just things that have easy physical demands. Adventure, arts, and culture. You can sort it by private tour, city break, self tour, the length, all of those things. So I'm super excited that RoomRes has started doing this. The one thing too to know about RoomRes before we finish up, when your clients book, they do get a customer coupon. Now, I've used RoomRes and traveled with my bookings. They've never asked me for it at the hotel, but I always make sure that my client has this, that I forward them this because it has the reservation number, it has their information about what they booked, all that, just so they have it just in case. I've personally never been asked for that client customer coupon, but it doesn't mean that they won't ask for it. So I really like RoomRes. I don't know if you guys use RoomRes much, but it has a lot of great features. I'm going to stop the recording.